one issue that we saw with a large chain was now their orders when they put in PetPooja increased by around 15%. If PetPooja doesn't increase orders, right? But I need to monitor the business, right? I need to see revenue. मुझे कॉल करना है बीच में 2 बजे कि यार आज क्यों कस्टमर नहीं आ रहे, कि क्यों ये टेबल खाली है.
Hey everyone, this is Minesh Jain and welcome back to another episode of Modernizing Biz podcast. On this episode, we have a very interesting guest with us. He's a very tech savvy. So he's working with a startup named PetPooja. So I hope a lot of people you are aware about what PetPooja do. So PetPooja is a point of sale system where they're linking a lot of F&B owners, restaurants, and they're helping them with their inventories, billing, online order, customer. So they have grown really well from domestic market to the offshore market. They're working in multiple cities. Let's hear from him like how it is going to be around it. Hi Shaival, how are you doing?
Hey Manish, good, good. Glad to be here and glad to share what I've learned over the years being with PetPooja. Just to give you a little bit of background,
Yeah.
PetPooja is India's largest restaurant tech platform. We power over 45,000 restaurants across the country.
Hmm.
I'm the Chief Growth Officer here. I've been with PetPooja for almost 7 years now, so it's been an interesting journey. Seeing it from zero revenue to 45,000 restaurants, literally, right?
Yeah.
And understanding the pain points of SMEs and the like. So glad to be here.
Yeah, so I want to know. Let me take you to almost 5 years back from now, right?
Sure.
So, what was your initial days in Pet Puja look like? Now that you've been growing, you're getting a lot of leads.
Correct.
शुरू के 1-2 महीने में क्या होता था? What was the scene at that time?
यार सब बहुत ही पहले जब स्टार्ट किया था when we started off very initially, it was a very different company, right? We used to do food delivery for corporates, right?
Oh,
So
wow.
an HDFC bank would say call us up and say, I have a training for 100 people. I need 100 lunches, and we would at X price. We would go to a restaurant and say, okay, HDFC wants this. What's the price you can give it at, and do the fulfillment.
Hmm.
Yeah, we did this thing for give or take 1.5 years. But doing this, we realized that yeah, जो order का पूरा relay mechanism था, restaurant के पास कोई there was no way to interact with the restaurant without having to call them up.
Yeah.
हम बहुत ही restaurant के वहाँ जाते थे, which is when we realized यार इनके operations actually जरा भी streamlined नहीं है. It was all over the
Hmm.
place, right? So there was no way to place an online order. They didn't even know if they had inventory or not for the things that they were taking an order for, right?
Yeah.
And this kept on happening. So at the end of 1.5 years, we realized that inke liye actually, if we can make some kind of platform, that will be of great value. Which is when we started making the point of sale software. So
Wow.
that is how the transition took place, right? And when we started making the software originally, there were a lot of players in the market, right? There were a lot of every city used to
Hmm.
have 20 or 30 POS players in the market, right? So what used to happen was a large chain used to go to an IT company and say, मेरे लिए custom software बना दो यार. और वो आईटी कंपनी बना देती थी और फिर उसको प्रोडक्ट की तरह और रेस्टोरेंट्स को भी बेचने जाते थे, राइट? So there was no thought process behind how it will look across categories. वो एक ही रेस्टोरेंट के लिए ओरिजिनली बना था, राइट?
Hmm.
There was no thought process behind how you keep upgrading the software, right? There was no thought process behind how it will interact with the larger world. So Zomato Swiggy के orders या Tally में data जाना, ये सब
Yeah.
कुछ thought out नहीं था तब. So those were the initial days.
Wow. So, since you've been into delivering mechanism and now you jumped into IT, both the
Mhm.
sides are very two different sides.
Absolutely.
So from which city you started out currently, initially
So
back in those days?
we started out with Ahmedabad, which is where the head office is based out of, right? But we within 1 year of ops, we also started Mumbai. I think
Okay.
the thing is in India, any of the tier 1 or even metros, tier 1s and tier 2s are all large markets. So it
Yeah.
really didn't matter where you really started from, because ऐसा नहीं था कि कोई भी market छोटा था यार. All of these cities have north of 10,000 restaurants. Sure, Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore would have over 25,000. But
Yeah.
when you are at zero, all everything looks large, right?
Large. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, since you working from Ahmedabad, going to Mumbai, and now to working your majority working with a lot of big brands, right?
Hmm.
Now you've been into offshore market as well. So
Correct.
what are the challenges? If you can highlight couple of them, what are the challenges you faced growing from Indian market to the offshore market? Let's take an example of Canadian market, right? What
Mhm.
is the difference there? What is the difference of working over here and there?
So I'll take this up into two parts. First is we yes, we do have a lot of large chains, but our primary focus are the small and medium businesses, right? Ek outlet, पांच outlet tak, they are our primary focus. Uh,
Hmm.
as the software evolved, automatically our software was the best in the market for SMBs. Chain started adopting it, and they saw कि नहीं यार ये actually overall best software है, भले ही मेरी 200 outlets हो, right? And I think
Yeah.
that is a shift we witnessed automatically, right? Going from
Wow.
SMBs to enterprises. However, even today, our first preference, I'd be happier if the Pani Puri wala down the street uses my POS than if Domino's takes it up, right? And that's
Wow.
been the mentality from day one, right? And continues to be. India and offshore markets, I think UAE is our largest offshore market today.
Hmm.
And I mean, each offshore market again is going to be different in how you approach it. But I think for some of these more developed markets, either kya hai yaar, we are fighting a blue ocean market, which means that people don't have any software. In the developed parts of the world, generally you go through, I mean, the people already have systems and softwares in place, so you are going through more of a replacement market and not just a blue ocean market.
Agree.
That's what you're going for, right? So इधर कन्विंस करना पड़ता है क्यों यूज करो, उधर बोलते हैं कि क्यों हम बेहतर है, right? So that is the
Yeah.
core difference in how you would go about it.
Yeah. So since you've been working into MSME, you touched the point. I really fascinated to know about that. That you will be excited to onboard a pani puri stall compared
Correct.
to a big MNC giant, right?
Correct.
So talking about the replacement model and the utility model, right? In
Mm-hmm.
India, it's a utility model, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what if you want to highlight couple of facts, numbers that in India, I know for the fact that I base out of from Indore, Madhya Pradesh, a tier two city, a very good
Mm-hmm.
market for food. Again, a city
Of
known
course,
for
yeah.
food. Yeah, you might be
Exactly.
aware about it. Yeah.
Yes.
So, but still, I know that a lot of restaurants and MSMEs or the quick serve restaurants, they don't use any point of sale contact machine or anything. They don't have
Correct.
any tech usage, right? So
Correct.
according to me, from the outside it feels like it is still a very big problem that need to be
Correct.
solved in upcoming 10 years. If you can highlight the real scenarios, I know you'll be the right person to answer that.
Sure. So, just to give you a brief background about numbers, right? In terms of spend on technology, US companies, I mean, Fortune 1000 companies would be around 4% of their total expenses on technology, right? Non-tech companies की बात कर रहा हूँ. Obviously, tech company
Hmm.
में तो tech बहुत ज्यादा होता है.
100% होगा, yeah.
Or close to, right? But so US and developed market SMEs are somewhere around 1.5 to 2%, right? Because other tech adoption hai. Indian SMBs, if I look at it, the number stands close to 0.1 to 0.3% of their overall expenses, right? And which is abysmally small, right? Now, two reasons. एक तो उनको पता नहीं है what kind of efficiencies technology can bring, right? So, for example, only by digitizing inventory and tracking wastage, tracking variance, you can actually reduce your inventory cost by 20 to 30%. That impacts your margins by 2 to 3% directly, right? Two to five actually, depending on your food cost, right? The second problem was ki some of these softwares were built for Western markets, right? So this created two problems. Ek to they were overly complicated to use, right? Because India is a market that is mobile first, that is not web
Hmm.
first. तो ये काफी
agree.
बने थे डेस्कटॉप्स के लिए, राइट? और इधर कोई
Yeah,
डेस्कटॉप यूज ही नहीं करता है, मतलब इधर यू आर डीलिंग विद यूजर्स हु नीड द लीस्ट नंबर ऑफ क्लिक्स, नॉट द मैक्सिमम फंक्शनैलिटीज, राइट?
agree.
1000 फीचर नहीं चाहिए, पर जो 10 है उनको देयर हैज टू बी एन इजियर वे टू यूज देम, राइट? The second problem was cost. So all these were the costing of all of these softwares based on developed world pricing. Now
Hmm.
उतना यार काफी सॉफ्टवेयर हमने देखे, उतना इधर के ठेले का रेवेन्यू नहीं होता जितनी सॉफ्टवेयर की कॉस्ट है, राइट? So
Right.
it doesn't make sense selling those in an Indian market. Yeah, that those I think are the two large challenges that we've seen and we've been able to solve for, fortunately.
Okay. Now, so you touched the point of cost and tech skills, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I also feel the same, that coming around from a lot of sales and marketing background, I was working with F&B industry previously, right? So
Okay.
I realized one thing: if you talk about MSMEs, they just talk about one thing, right? If you explain them the unit economics of 20% inventory save and the cost saved due to inventory loss, right? They're not going to understand if you can talk about numbers, लाइक ये
Mm-hmm.
सॉफ्टवेयर लगाया, कितनी सेल्स आएगी, क्या मदद मिलेगी, उसके बारे में बात करो. तो दे हैव दिस
Exactly.
मेंटालिटी. सो इफ यू वांट टू कवर दैट पॉइंट, राइट, एक्चुअली यूजिंग टेक for MSMEs and what's going to be their impact in their revenue, right, in
Correct.
their profits. So if you can
Correct.
highlight that point.
So, yeah, very honestly, most SMB tech players, including us, will solve for cost optimization, right? However, having said that, revenue, for example, if I talk about it, right, I'll start with the basic point. A lot of these restaurants sell on Zomato, Swiggy, right?
Agree.
उनके दो ऐप पे ऑर्डर आते हैं, कभी कभी डॉट पे, थ्राइव भी होता है, सो तीन चार एप्स पे ऑर्डर आते हैं, राइट? वो
Hmm.
एक ऐप में भी एक्सेप्ट नहीं करता है, वो आया हुआ ऑर्डर रिजेक्ट हो रहा है, सो यू आर एक्चुअली लूजिंग आउट ऑन रेवेन्यू, राइट? One issue that we saw with a large chain was now their orders when they put in PetPooja increased by around 15%, right? We didn't
Hmm.
do anything. PetPooja doesn't increase orders, right? What happened was, when the guy used to come in to open the restaurant, he used to open the restaurant at 10, but switch on the ordering apps at 10:45, 11, right? Very tiny. तब तक एक्चुअली रेस्टोरेंट ऑन ही नहीं होती थी जोमेटो स्विगी पे, राइट?
Agree.
सेकंड, काफी ऑर्डर्स रश आवर में रिजेक्ट हो जाते थे बिकॉज द एग्रीगेटर्स हैव नाउ पुट वेरी स्ट्रिंजेंट टाइमलाइंस ऑन हाउ मच टाइम एन ऑर्डर हैज टू बी एक्सेप्टेड इन, राइट? सो यू लिटरली लक्ष्मी आ रही है और आप नहीं एक्सेप्ट कर पा रहे हो ऑर्डर, राइट? सो यूजिंग
Yeah.
दैट इज वन थिंग. Second is you can actually target consumers much better. So if you know he has been ordering XYZ, you can send him a coupon for Z. When he comes into dine in, you can actually, our software is intelligent enough to tell you कि यार इस बंदे को आप upsell कर सकते हो ये चीज, right? So that also
Perfect.
directly impacts the revenue bit, right? So revenue optimization भी है, and second cost optimization तो significant है यार. We saw a huge shift of restaurant owners जो गल्ले पे नहीं बैठते थे, right? As the generation
Hmm.
shift happened, these men who were 45, 50 years old gave the operations to their children, right? When the children came in, they said, I don't want to be sitting on that at the restaurant the entire day, but I need to monitor the business, right? I need to see revenue. मुझे कॉल करना है बीच में 2 बजे कि यार आज क्यों कस्टमर नहीं आ रहा है, कि क्यों ये टेबल खाली है, right? So that is something that an cloud-based POS allows you to do.
Perfect. So, so your software and like it will going to act good as a CRM, right? If you want to
Correct.
highlight, yeah. So if you
Yeah.
want to highlight in a basic manner, in a simple terms, so that what a CRM do and how it actually solve, right? How you gather the customer data, how you
Sure.
actually you can reach out, you can use retargeting. If you can explain those in a simple terms, so how it's going to do.
So, CRM is a customer relationship management software, right? At the base of it, of any CRM, is know your customer as a unit and not as an aggregate. So,
Hmm.
शैवल या मिनेश आके मेरी रेस्टोरेंट में क्या खा रहा है, कौन से टाइप का क्यूजीन खा रहा है, राइट? उसको, अगर मैं वेजिटेरियन हूँ तो मुझे चिकन बिरयानी की ऑफर भेज के, यू आर नॉट डूइंग एनी गुड टू द ऑफर, टू द SMS मनी स्पेंट, यू आर नॉट डूइंग गुड टू एनीथिंग, राइट? So
Yeah.
if you know what I am eating or what you are eating, right, the restaurant can actually send कि यार अगर मैं हफ्ते में 3 बार वेज बिरयानी मंगा रहा हूँ तो मुझे SMS में वेज बिरयानी की कूपन आएगी, राइट? तब मैं एक्चुअली चौथी बार शायद मंगा लूंगा, राइट? So that is the holistic point of a CRM. Make things more personalized for the audience.
Perfect. So coming down to the second point, let's say software people have to start understanding now. Coming down to the usage, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is the point of usage, right? So if you talk about restaurant owners, they're like 50-year-old, 40 years old sitting there. 40
Mm-hmm.
years old, so they can understand that. But still, if you talk
Correct.
about 50-year-old, 60-year-old, so in India, there is like very less tendency to have to learn something, right? Like
Correct.
even if people use, you touch the point very good in the conversation that there's a 10 features in the app which is of
Correct.
usefulness, they'll use only 10.
Correct.
Facebook पे
Correct.
भी जाएंगे, they'll upload the photo, they'll like, comment, that's it. They don't
Exactly.
know how
Yeah.
to learn a live community. They don't know how to do that, right?
Exactly.
If you talk about a platform like yours, so what's the tech savviness and how they can utilize it? Like, is it user friendliness? How they can learn that as well?
तो यार फर्स्ट इज यूजर फ्रेंडलीनेस। देखो आप लोग ओनर को तो बहुत चीजें बेच के आते हैं कि आपको क्या रिपोर्टिंग मिलेगी, क्या सेव होगा। पर अगर बिलर एंट्री नहीं करेगा तो क्या अचार बनाओगे रिपोर्टिंग का, राइट? लाइक बिल पंच तो होना चाहिए, राइट? सो दैट इज द फर्स्ट स्टेप कि यार व्हाट इज द मिनिमम नंबर ऑफ स्टेप्स यू कैन हैव अ बिल पंच्ड इन, राइट? सो
Hmm.
द बेस्ट एग्जांपल आई गिव ऑफ दिस इज टैली, राइट? एंड
हाँ, yeah.
नॉन टैली यूजर्स लव टू हेट ऑन टैली कि क्या यूआई है, क्या ये है, राइट? पर अकाउंटेंट को आप ब्लाइंड फोल्ड कर दो ना तो भी वो टैली यूज कर पाएगा। उसको बोलते हैं यूजर
Hmm.
फ्रेंडलीनेस, राइट?
Okay.
मुझे और आपको जिसको यूज नहीं करना है टैली, उसको उसके यूआई से कोई पड़ी कुछ चीज पड़ी नहीं होनी चाहिए, उसको रिपोर्ट आ जाता है जब हमें चाहिए तो। पर अकाउंटेंट
Right.
इतने अच्छे से यूज कर पाता है, उस दैट इज व्हाट वी एक्चुअली आई मीन। Sure, you can beautify it. Tally could be made slightly better in terms of design, no doubt about it. But it works for the person who is using it, right? So
Right.
there is, मैं और आप कोई नहीं होते कहने वाले कि यार इसका यूआई खराब है, क्योंकि अकाउंटेंट को ये अच्छा लगता है, राइट? वो
Right.
इतने फास्ट बटन दबाता है, उसके हाथ ट्रैक नहीं कर पाते हो आप, और वो खोल देता है सही लेजर, राइट? सो दैट इज यूजर फ्रेंडलीनेस, राइट? वी सॉ दिस अर्ली ऑन। पहले ऑब्वियसली रेस्टोरेंट पीओएस कोई देखता है इंटरनेशनल, उससे ये होके इंस्पायर हो गए। तो
Hmm.
आप अच्छा सा टच बेस वाला, टच स्क्रीन के
Yeah.
यूजर इंटरफेस एलिमेंट्स वाला बनाते हो। इंडिया में आके पता चलता है यार साला टच स्क्रीन है ही नहीं किसी के पास, राइट? तो कीबोर्ड से चलना चाहिए। और फिर बिलर बोलता है कि यार मुझे माउस भी नहीं करना, पूरा टैब से चलना चाहिए, राइट? सो ये चीजें बिल्ड करनी बहुत जरूरी है। ऐसा नहीं है कि यार फैंसी यूआई दे दिया तो चल गया, राइट?
Hmm.
उसको माउस कैसे नहीं यूज करे ना, वो एक्चुअली बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग प्रॉब्लम है सॉल्व करने के लिए, रादर कैसे फैंसी यूआई बनाऊं।
Right, right. Only I would say departmental stores and all, they are using those touch screens, but again, yeah, 90% of the MSMEs are they are not using it.
And are बहुत expensive है यार। The thing is, those commercial touch grade machines are very expensive. So
Yeah.
you don't even, and they take up space. Obviously, you don't expect a
Hmm.
small restaurant to take those up.
There's a security issues linked to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now let's go on to the cost side of the things, right? Let's
Mm-hmm.
take an example. If I'm own a restaurant, I
Mm-hmm.
make in and out. I do the invoicing. I had a revenue of around 1 lakh a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
आराम से जो कर सकता है 1 लाख का है उसमें आई स्पेंड कॉस्ट एंड
Correct.
एवरीथिंग आई अर्न 30,000 आई टेक थर्टी
Mhm.
थाउजेंड होम 25-30,000
Correct.
home, right?
Correct.
So for this type of unit what will be the costing, and if you want to highlight the frequency of orders, so what's going to be the costing, how much percentage they have to start spending on tech which will lead them to increase the
So,
productivity and efficiency?
I mean, if I talk about our pricing model, we have a flat pricing model. We don't charge restaurants based on their billing, right? So ours is
Okay,
flat, is 10,000 rupees inclusive of GST per year, right? So it is extremely
pretty
affordable.
fine.
It works
Yeah.
out to 800 rupees per month. So even if you're earning 30,000, that comes to roughly 0.3% of your revenue, right? Of your revenue, bhi nahi, sorry, of your profit.
Profit. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is extremely affordable, and that's the only way you can actually ask MSMEs to adopt it. We have value added features on top of this, but no small restaurant is going to require that. As you progress, right, then only you're going to require it. And we don't believe in charging a percentage, because unless you provide a value on the order, it doesn't make sense to charge a percentage revenue, right?
Yeah, perfect. Fine. Totally agree. Now, since talking about paid puja, so this is the thing that there is a point of sale system that's going to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's take an example down the line, 2 years, it is going to be accepted. And a lot of people are start using it. If you
Mm-hmm.
say 80-90% of the MSMEs are using the any tech based platform,
Mm-hmm.
what's next? So you've been working into Western market, you know the trends. what is happening there, and still I think so we are lagging behind, right? So what next is happening, and what's next going to come in India, which we need to accept?
So yeah, again, two answers to this question. First of all, we don't believe we are going to achieve that kind of penetration tomorrow. दो reason है यार. एक तो market, so a conservative estimate puts the number of restaurants in India at 10 lakh. An aggressive estimate puts it at 41 lakhs. Right? Numbers itself are humongous. Second, even if whatever the number is X, right? We have seen 30% of restaurants shut down in the first year of operations, 30 to 33%, right? तो हर साल उतनी नहीं आ रही है, उनको भी तो मुझे आई हैव टू ब्रिंग देम ऑन बोर्ड, राइट? सो द मार्केट इन इटसेल्फ इज नेवर एंडिंग एसेंशियल, राइट? हर
Hmm.
साल anywhere between 3 to 10 lakh restaurants are opening. And again, I mean, the range is so wide because first of all it's very difficult to classify a restaurant. Once you start going to the very small establishment, what is a restaurant, right? Then that question comes into play. मुझे तो ठेले वाले को भी बेचना है, राइट? बट वो
Right.
कैसे मैं उसको भी मेरा क्लाइंट बना सकता हूँ? Second, what next is, we have also launched a marketing tool for these restaurants, right? Called Tweeto.
Okay.
So the first problem that we saw with restaurant was यार सबको market करना था खुद को, right? But they
Hmm.
didn't know how to. Today, marketing is all based on creatives. It is either photos or videos. There is no text. SMS has
Agree.
stopped working, right? So अब उनको वो creatives बनाना नहीं आता था यार, and there were tools, right? But Adobe किसी को use करना नहीं आता. Canva also, if you look at it beyond the point, if you're a non-designer, यार कलर थियरी नहीं पढ़ी है तो मैं ये रेड कलर का कौन सा शेड यूज करूं या टेक्स्ट का ड्रॉप शैडो का कितना ऑफसेट दूं, मुझे जरा भी नहीं आइडिया है, right?
Agree.
So which is why what we have done is in Twitter we have over 50,000 templates based on Indian cuisines, क्योंकि इंडियन
Hmm.
cuisines के फोटोज भी नहीं है इनके पास, तो राइट? अब
Agree.
आप खमण के फोटो ढूंढोगे तो आपको अच्छे नहीं मिलने वाले, श्योर गूगल पे मिल जाएंगे, दे आर नॉट समथिंग यू कैन यूज टू प्रमोट.
Hmm. Hmm.
फूड
Hmm.
के फोटो देख के भूख लगनी चाहिए, राइट? दैट्स द अल्टीमेट टेस्ट. So we have made 50,000 templates on different cuisines using which you can promote your food, you can promote events, you can promote a number of things, right? So I think that's something that will be next. Um, and obviously international markets are going to be a play for us as well. I think Western market also in terms of F&B is fragmented, right? So while the number of small and medium businesses in in developed markets is lower, in F&B specifically, ऐसा नहीं है कि डिजिटल सब चेन्स ही है. इवन इफ यू लुक
Hmm.
एट डेवलप्ड मार्केट, सो इंडिया में जस्ट एज एन एग्जांपल 2% ऑफ द मार्केट इज चेन्स. Everything else 98% is fragmented, right? In Europe, which is a much more developed market, 90% is fragmented, 10% are chains. In the
Hmm.
most developed market in the world, US, right, 25% are chain, 75% is fragmented. So even at the highest level of development, 75% of the market is fragmented, right? इनको ही सर्व करना एक्चुअली ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है. दैट्स व्हाट वी फील internally, at least, because the McDonald's of the world, just particularly McDonald's, right? They took over a point of sale company, they bought it over, right? And now they
Yeah.
are implementing that internally.
Agree.
उनकी बहुत customized requirements है. They are going to make their POS exactly according to their requirements. Whereas an SMB has generalized use cases, right? So I think there's a large market to serve everywhere you go.
Perfect. I hope you. I hope this particular point that you have touched, a lot of MSMEs can get value around it. Last, coming down to the end of conversation, you touched the point that you are now empowering them with marketing as well, right?
Correct.
So, if you can highlight couple of pointers, what you've been doing in marketing and what like a lot of the MSMEs are not doing currently, right? So, what is
Okay.
the gap you're filling out with
Sure.
that?
So for marketing, what we are seeing is रेस्टोरेंट्स आर नॉट एबल टू मार्केट themselves, राइट? उनको नहीं पता है कौन सी, पहले तो क्रिएटिव कैसे बनाऊं, सेकंड कौन सी चैनल पे मार्केट करूं, राइट? सो what we are doing is we are actually setting up an entire photography studio, right? खमन की फोटो चाहिए ना, मेरे पास है, राइट? आई हैव द बेस्ट फोटोज ऑफ अ खमन. उसको मैं क्रिएटिव भी बना के दूंगा. आप अपने, इफ यू आर स्टार्टिंग से अ न्यू फ्लेवर ऑफ खमन, यू कैन एक्चुअली टेल योर कस्टमर्स कि यार नई फ्लेवर में स्टार्ट कर रहा हूँ. You can, that will happen one on one, you can share it on Facebook, Instagram, whatever. Next step for us will be marketing automation. So पेट पूजा का ये customer, suppose Minesh has not come to my restaurant for 3 months, we'll be able to automatically send you a message on WhatsApp saying, hey, you haven't had biryani for the longest time, here's your coupon code for 20% off, right? Or we are launching a biryani festival, please come in for a trial, right?
Yeah.
That will happen in an automated manner. Second, what we are doing is, now that we have creatives, we are going to integrate Facebook and Google ads onto it, right? आज Facebook Google ads करना जरूरी है for awareness, but most MSMEs feel that it is too complicated, right? We are planning to launch a 2 to 3 click solution such that MSMEs can start marketing themselves there. मतलब it is I just wanted to be a point of कि यार 100 रुपए डाले, आपको पता चल जाएगा कितनी इंप्रेशन, कितनी रीच मिली, और उसमें आपका मार्केटिंग हो सकता है, बिकॉज द फर्स्ट थिंग इज टू मेक पीपल
Hmm.
अवेयर दैट दिस प्लेस एग्जिस्ट, राइट? So for example,
Right.
I'm a big fan of Lebanese food, right? There is a very good
Hmm.
uh, a Lebanese cloud kitchen in Ahmedabad, right? It's been in existence for 2 years, and the lady is actually from Lebanon, right? Who makes it here?
Wow.
पता ही नहीं है मुझे, right? Now the problem is, the first point is awareness, right? And I think that is something
Hmm.
that we can help solve for. Repeat and other
Amazing.
creators are actually largely dependent on quality of food and quality of service, right? No matter यार कितना भी एडवर्टाइजिंग पे स्पैम कर दे कोई आपको, दूसरी बार तो खाने के टेस्ट पे और सर्विस एक्सपीरियंस पे डिपेंडेंट है, और देयर इज नो अदर
Agree.
मैजिक बुलेट टू दिस.
Yeah, the good product is the best marketing that you
Absolutely,
can do.
absolutely.
Yeah. So thanks a lot, Shival. I hope a lot of audience will get value from this conversation. I enjoyed this conversation a lot, and I wish you
Same
all the
here.
best on the projects that you're working on.
Thank you so much, Vinesh. Glad to be here. I had a great conversation as well. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Take care.